Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and that the mother has went through a wall, came home, now they can't find her.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
What's your, is it deemed?
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here for another ATS News live stream. I see Melly, Sexy Wild Thing, Carol freaking Claus in the chat, Tony, Holly's here, Derek's here, Jennifer. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. Hi, Dustin, Christina, Pointer Lover, Adrienne. All right, the gang is all here. Bean Bio Girl, Johnny's here. Hey, guys. Okay, so the last time we dug into these files, hey, Neat Noodle, Mary Beth. If I don't say your name, I appreciate you being here. Just want to get started. Hey, Zoe. So glad to see everybody. So we kind of were getting to the point where we reached, some information regarding the crime scene. And it gave us that visual. Let me share my screen so that we can see it. Yes, so this is the page that we left off on. 197. This was obviously not to scale, but reconstruction, illustration, whatever you want to call it, of where her body was found. And then we end up finding out through the media and, through their own investigation, through these files and other files, the discovery files, that they realized that allegedly it was Stephan who returns to the crime scene. So this case will have 2 crime scenes. It'll have the house where they were saying that this took place at, and then it also has the dump site, which he moved her body to. So we'll read this article quick. Through our investigation into these files many, many episodes ago, because we are on episode 6, we learned that they did take in multiple cars for crime scene analysis on them and to kind of process them. And one of those cars that was taken in was Jen Soto's, the mother's, and she drives a white Nissan. So he allegedly goes back to the scene at 3 a.m. the day after she was reported missing. So she's reported on the 26th. They have information to say that he drove back there the 27th at, around 3 in the morning. Was he alone? Was Jen Soto with him? Was Jen Soto oblivious and sleeping? Was Jen Soto aware but stayed behind at the hotel? So many different things kind of run through my head. Like, how much did Jen know even about her car being taken? Because there could be, she could have been passed out and he stole her keys and left. She could have said, I'm going to stay here, and he went. We just don't know yet. So it says, Soto case, white Nissan that drove to the area where girl's body dumped belonged to the mother. Osceola County, Florida. So we found this out before this article was even written, because at first they were saying, we don't know whose vehicle it was, but we knew because of what we were reading through. Hours. Oh, if you guys could just hit the like button also. Sorry, I forgot to say it. Appreciate it so much. Hours after police said stephansterns dumped 13-year-old Madeline Soto's body in a rural part of Osceola County, records show a white Nissan traveled the same exact path Stearns' car took from the apartment complex where Soto was killed to the area near the dump site. On Friday, officers confirmed the white Nissan belonged to Soto's mother, Jen Soto, and it was driven by Stephan Stearns at the time. Stearns' potential return to the place where he left Madeline's body in the middle of the night adds another layer into this case. By then, he and Madeline's mother met with police, where he told them he last saw the girl when he dropped her off at the church near her school. The records released Thursday show Stearns began what's believed to be his journey to dump Madeline's body at 12:44 p.m. on February 26, 2024. His Lincoln MKZ last appeared on a traffic camera a few miles away from the dump site at 1:16 p.m. Stearns' car began its journey around 2:11 p.m. Now, with the addition of a spare tire, the investigators stated in the report. Stearns' Lincoln returned to the apartment complex at 2:43 p.m., where police said Stearns moved between a workshop area and a dumpster as he threw away items. So, as we know from what we've read through, the items that he threw away were a tire, her backpack, her laptop, and one white Croc. Kissimmee police said Jen Soto's white Nissan, driven by Stearns, so they're claiming that it was Stephan. So now that kind of narrows it down to, did she know that he went back there with her car? Was she in the passenger seat? Like, we just don't know that. And at this point, they're not stating. Pinged on a license plate reader. So obviously, if she was in the car, it would be seen. It is Florida. A lot of people have tint because of the heat. So we'll just have to wait and see, pretty much. Thank you, Christina. I appreciate that. And Holly, I'm so glad to see you. Oh, thanks, Christina, for the super sticker. Is this for hitting 43K? Because we did hit 43K this week, and I can't thank you guys enough. Your guys' support means so much to me. Hi, Grateful Mama, Lucia, Keenly, everyone else who's joined. Thanks so much for being here. Holly says, I'm thinking she was there. I have a hard time believing that she just was passed out asleep at 3 a.m. and had no idea her car was taken. Is that possible? Yes. Do we know yet? No. But you know what would really give us that indication? The cameras at the hotel they were staying at. Was it just him that left the room, But even if it was just him who left the room, are we going to believe that she just had no idea where he was going and that he was taking her car? It just seems like these two have worked so closely together, when they state things in their media interviews like we dropped her off, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Okay. License plate reader at 3:16 in the morning. The following day, the reported stated that the Nissan took the same path as Stearns did the day before, entering the area near the dump site at 3:33 a.m. At 4:09 a.m., the white Nissan was picked up on its way back to the apartment complex, passing through the gate at 4:30 in the morning. Okay, so I guess they weren't at the hotel at this point. For some reason, I thought they went to the hotel like immediately, and they were kind of doing the crime scene analysis at their house. I don't know. It's not clear why Stearns took Jen Soto's car instead of his own and whether she was aware of his excursion. One possible explanation was the flat tire on Stearns' Lincoln, but police have not confirmed those details. So we see pictures of him with what I call a donut tire, that little replacement tire that you put on like until you get a new tire. You're only supposed to drive that like 30 miles or something. Like, you're not supposed to just keep driving on it. So I wonder if that had anything to do with him taking her car, because he just had not replaced that tire yet. One of the messages referenced a woman whose name was redacted from the paperwork. Chris Stearns, who's the father of Stephan, wrote to his son that he believed that the woman knew more about Madeline's death than she was letting on. I'm assuming this is referring to the emails where they kind of accuse the Jen. So there's talking about the emails. I'm disgusted she is free and you are not. It's not all your fault. You need to think about yourself and her less. The whole family is willing to stay quiet and you take the fall for everything. All right. So now let's get back to our documents. We're going to read through some of these documents. Oh, thank you, Derek. Congratulations, Amber, on 43K subscribers. No one deserves it more. We appreciate the time and effort you put in for your YouTube family. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Just the message alone, thanks. I really appreciate that. We are, on our way to 50K, and then obviously we all want to reach that 100K so I can get that plaque. I really want that plaque. And thank you, Christina, for becoming a member. Appreciate you as well. I do have the member link at the top of the chat in case anyone needs easy access to it. All right, so let me just share my screen again and we'll get into some of the documents. Now, last time we were reading through these, a lot of them were, full pages were redacted. So 1 and 2, marker 1 and 2 are his tire fragments from the flat tire. So even though he returns to the scene, he fails to pick up, pieces of part of his car that kind of place him there. And what we read through, they collected the tire from the dumpster. And I'm sure they're going to use like analysis to kind of compare it to, the tire fragments at the scene. And just to kind of confirm, like, this belonged to you. The following physical evidence was collected from the crime scene by this forensic technician package. Did we read through this already? I don't think we did. Let me scroll down a little bit. No, we didn't. Okay, so tire fragment, crime scene photos, distance of the body from west edge of Hickory Tree Road. Okay. This report may contain conclusions and or interpretations made by the author. City of Kissimmee Police Department Electronic Incident Report, transmittal form. Reporting officer's narrative. On February 26th at approximately 23:55 hours, I, Officer Clark, responded to, and then obviously the address is redacted, in reference to an attempt to locate in reference to a missing juvenile case report, and then it gives the case report number. The Orange County Sheriff's Office are working KPD. Prior to my arrival, I was advised that the Orange County Sheriff's Office is working on a missing juvenile whose primary residence is the aforementioned address. I was advised by Lieutenant Ortiz to return the aforementioned address and make contact with the family again, and advised if all this name is redacted, returned home. Upon arrival, I spoke with Jennifer Soto, Madeline's mother, and Stephan Sterns, Jennifer's boyfriend, who both provided me with a verbal statement summarized as follows. On morning of 2/27, Stephan took Madeline to school in a silver 2010 Lincoln MKZ. Stephan dropped Madeline off a block away from home due to her not wanting to be seen in the old Lincoln. They stated that Madeline forgot her phone at home and that Madeline has ADHD and is usually forgetful. They tell that to every officer. They want every officer to know, like, oh yeah, she didn't bring her phone and this is why. She's always forgetful. They stated Madeline did not take any personal items or leave any notes hinting to her running away. They stated they did not have any recent arguments. See, they always emphasize that too. Stephan and Jen, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but both of them have really like honed in and like referenced like, we haven't had a fight, or we haven't had an argument. We've been getting along for a while. It's been weeks, blah, blah, blah. The fact that they have to emphasize that makes me think that there was an argument that took place that night. Jennifer and I looked through Madeline's cell phone, including her recent deleted texts, which did not contain anything suspicious or hinting to her wanting to run away. There was a text Madeline sent to a friend stating that when she turns 18 years old, she wants to live in the woods. Jennifer and Stephan allowed me to search the residence with negative results for Madeline. Stephan took me to each family member's vehicles outside of the residence with negative results for Madeline inside any vehicles. I observed a handgun in the rear back pocket of the driver's seat in the Lincoln MKZ, which Stephan stated he usually leaves it in the vehicle. Stephan also advised me to not pay attention to the donut tire on his vehicle due to him recently catching a flat earlier that day. Jennifer provided me with her sister's address, redacted, which is within walking distance from, and that's all redacted. I responded to that address, I'm assuming, and spoke with Jennifer's sister, who stated she has not seen Madeline since her birthday party on the 26th. She allowed me to search her residence with negative results for Madeline. She allowed me to search her vehicle as well as inside of a utility van belonging to Jennifer's grandfather. The utility van has been turned into RV, which also had negative results for, now this is redacted. I'm just saying Madeline, but what else would it be, I guess? On 2/27 at approximately 23:01 hours, I responded back to this address to meet with multiple detectives and their supervisors at OCSO while they interviewed Jennifer's family again. Officer Owens and I stood by the aforementioned address until properly relieved. This report is related to KPD case. This report will be forwarded to Records Division. A portion of this incident was captured on my department-issued body-worn camera. The body-worn camera is footage, and its footage is maintained by Kissimmee Police Department. Case supplemental report. On February 27th at approximately 23:36 hours, I, Officer J. Owens, responded to a building, all that's redacted, located at redacted in reference to mutual aid reference. Orange County Sheriff's Office case number. Upon arrival on the scene, I made contact with Lieutenant J. Ortiz. While speaking with Lieutenant Ortiz, she assigned me the task of watching the residents of the aforementioned address. While on scene, I did not observe anyone enter the residence other than the individuals who were escorted by Orange County detectives that were on the scene. While on scene, I did not make contact with anyone else. This concludes my involvement in this case. Got a whole page redacted. This looks like a property form. Very hard to read. So we're just going to keep scrolling. Here is another property form. For use by the evidence squad only. All right, so this property form is from the 28th. Location where property impounded. This is the address. Don't want to 2500 West Colonial Drive. Not sure. Is that the apartment? Let me just check with you guys in chat. Hello, Planet J. Cindy. Ryan is here. Are there any rumors or any talk of the police quietly building a case against Jen, or are they 100% focused on Stephan as a perpetrator of this crime? And hello, Melanie. Good to see you. I think that, the only rumors going around are from us here on YouTube and social media. There's been a lot of demand for her to be arrested. I mean, I've seen people with hashtags saying arrest Jen Soto. As far as rumors from higher ups besides civilians, I haven't seen any kind of hint or anything like that from like the district attorney or from, police. But that's not to say that it's not happening behind the scenes. He has 2 trials coming up. One in reference to the content found on his phone, and one that pertains to Madeline. So where Jen kind of falls in, we don't really know yet. Will she be a witness? Will she, is there a deal being made for her? We just don't know. But I think that it's possible that they're still kind of building the case, looking through their phone information to see if there's any proof that of her knowledge of things. All that is going to take a minute to kind of prove and kind of lay out before they can put her in handcuffs. So I think that it's still possible. I don't think that it's absolutely out of the realm of possibility that she could be arrested. I think there was an original plan, but the flat tire wasn't part of it. So the rest was impulsive. Agree. Like, I wonder if he was even going to bring her further away than where she was found. I know, I swear, Jen Soto better not be in witness protection. Agree. And hello, Miss True Crime. Good to see you. Yes, I totally agree. I'm incredibly surprised she hasn't been arrested yet. I know. You would think that there would be something. And remember, just through our little skim of these documents, so hey, Debbie Fox, one of her Crocs were found in the dumpster. The other Croc was found in Jen's room. So, I mean, what does that really mean? I don't know, but just interesting because she claims she never saw her that morning. And when I say she claims that, in these documents in her interview, she stated that she thought she might have heard her that morning in the kitchen, but there were multiple people out there, so she wasn't sure. And she also said to the media that she saw her getting dressed that morning. So there has been a little bit wishy-washy statements in regards to, where Jen was that morning in reference to Madeline. Yeah, she has made herself look pretty guilty, in my opinion. Agree. I mean, how are you going to be shown pictures that she was shown in her interrogation or interview, whatever you want to call it, and act like she didn't recognize anything in those photos? It's just BS. Hey, Florida Bass Fishing. Good to see you. Yeah, both of them are such lying. Yeah, I know it. I totally agree. All right, so let's see what this says that they collected. Okay, so this is from a car because they're talking about the center console. Latex gloves, bottom of center console. Cloth gloves, bottom of center console. Nail file kit, top center console. Why is a nail file kit? I don't know. Knife, top center console, napkins, front passenger seat, more napkins, front passenger floor, latex gloves, front passenger door. See, the glove aspects is like, why do you have these in your car? But because of COVID, it's kind of like, well, I guess that could explain it. they've just been in there since 2020. You know what I mean? Who knows? I still think it's weird. There's something very sketchy, unfortunately, again. Yes. Stearns is super shady, but Jen is right behind him. I agree. And the more that you see her on that body camera footage, the more it's like cringe to watch. Like at first we watch her, we're like, oh, she's worried. She's just, you know, she looks nervous though. Like what's going on? And we were kind of like, oh, this is weird. But the more you like look at it, the more you're like, I think she's nervous because she's like hoping they're not onto her. Again, that's just an opinion, not an expert, obviously. She's just as guilty or more guilty than he is for allowing him access to her daughter. Exactly. How she openly admits in her own statements, I needed sleep that night. And I sent them upstairs to sleep in the bedroom in room 4 together. Yeah, I am super like, the napkins don't, you know, surprise me in a car. Like we have a ton of napkins and a paper towel roll in our trunk. But the gloves, you know, it's like, could you conclude that to 2020 COVID too? Or what? And hello, Purple One, good to see you. Yes, that body cam footage is so telling. She is panicked and observes the cops, wondering if they were buying her lives. Yes, and remember her face when her family and the cop like kind of insinuate that you can track her laptop. She's like, oh, she has a laptop that's missing or with her, but it's not traceable or something like that. And her family chimes in and the cop is kind of saying the same thing, like, well, you know, potentially it could be traceable. And her family's like saying like, yes, it can be traced. She looks so like stunned and like scared. Like you would think she'd be like, really? Oh my gosh, you know, we got to get on that. Like, who can we talk to that can maybe try and track that? Instead, she was like deer in the headlights. Like, what do you mean it can be traced? You know, because it's sitting in the dump at that point. Have they charged her mom with anything, or are they pointing the finger only on him? It's pretty obvious her mom knew what he was doing. She's had no charges, Florida. Believe it or not. That's what everyone's kind of like waiting around for. Like, what is going on? You know, like she's openly admitting in her interview that she allowed them to sleep in the same bed together. Sometimes she would sleep with them. Whatever the heck that means. Using your daughter as a tool to get sleep or potentially a way to keep a man is disgusting and worse than being a child predator. To give up your daughter. I know. And then we find out through these documents that we've been reading through that her friends, and I believe the counselor, yes, the school counselor and her friends all stated that Jen and Madeline had a tumultuous relationship. They weren't, you know, mother-daughter, like best friends. They weren't even just a regular mother-daughter relationship. It was, they'd argue a lot. Jen told her, when you turn 18, I'm kicking you out. The counselor mentioned, you know, that they had been getting along according to Madeline, and Madeline was pleased about it. So it's like, for them to state in these interviews, like, well, no, and we haven't had a fight in a while. Like, she had no reason to run away. Really? Because I think that there was an argument. I don't know, obviously, the context, but the fact that they've kind of emphasized how well they were getting along and nothing out of the ordinary between them that night took place, I'm not buying it. I would say you're an awesome research expert, though, Amber. Oh, thank you. I try my best for you guys. She's nervous because she's in on it in some form. She acted the same way Chris Watts acted with the swaying. Yeah. The self-soothing. And, you know, what is she self-soothing for? Gloves are fishy, in my opinion. Pointer Lover's got paper towels in her car, too. And I just got the notification on my phone. Pointer Lover, thank you so much for the PayPal. I appreciate and love you very much. Speaking of love, has anyone seen Roxanne? She was tired. She might be napping, maybe. Yeah, everything about her actions shows she knew something. Yeah, we have gloves in the car for pumping gas. Right. So it's like, how do we look at this form right here, you know? Hey, Brittany. Hi, ATS News. This case gets me. I'm holding out that law enforcement are both building a case and potentially trying to nail Jen with every charge they can. I hope so. I really hope so. Is she in a mental facility? People have, speculated that as well. We don't know. We really don't know. She went to the NK school of escaping the law and disappearing into thin air, in my opinion. I hope not. If we have another incident where we're wondering where the heck is Jen years down the line, not going to fly. Chitty Chatty Meg, good to see you. Yeah, lots of people have gloves in their car because of COVID. All right, so interesting, though, that he has cloth gloves and latex gloves. And not only just latex gloves in the center console, but he's got latex gloves on the front passenger door. So rag, front passenger door, towel, rear passenger floor, black jacket, rear passenger floor, latex gloves, singular, rear passenger floor, napkins, rear passenger floor, tan blanket across the back seat. Okay, but I don't see which car this is, though. Although, I don't know if this is... No, that's just the case number. Probably Stephan's car. Okay, so evidence category. Property form. Swabs times 6. Trace vacuum filters times 6. Some of this is kind of hard to read. 9mm live round glove box, tire from the tank, Lincoln emblem in the trunk, Lincoln emblem from glove box, white rope trunk, black netting trunk, white towel trunk, red hoodie trunk, blue jacket trunk, trash bag trunk, latex glove, front passenger seat and center console napkins, front driver's seat and center console. Okay, more property forms. So, Sig Sauer P365. I don't know what that means. 9mm pistol, and it gives a serial number there. 1 magazine from the pistol. 13 9mm live rounds from the pistol. 1 magazine in bag on table. This might have come from the house then. 12 9mm in live rounds from magazine. Oh, wait, we already read that. 1 holster, 1 red t-shirt, dresser room number 4. So number 4 is the room that they supposedly slept in together. White and flat sheet from the closet, white flat sheet from bed, white pillowcase from the bed, white fitted sheet from the bed, 1 pair of black boots from room number 4, 1 gray comforter from downstairs bedroom. Okay, more property forms. One flat sheet from the downstairs bedroom, one white fitted sheet from the downstairs bedroom, one orange bottle of masturbation cream from backpack in the bedroom number 4, 3 prescription medications belonging to, and that's redacted, in the downstairs bed. So don't know if that's Madeline's medication, Jen Soto's, because both of them have been redacted in these forms. One pink strawberry snuggle or snuggie. Don't know what that is. One pair of black underwear, one pair of black shorts, one fitted cat sheet. Huh? I'm wondering if this strawberry snuggie is strawberry shortcake and this fitted cat sheet is Hello Kitty. But again, I don't know. I just know that they kind of like that kind of nerdy stuff. So I'm just guessing, but it does say fitted cat sheet. I don't know. One boxers from the laundry basket. One composition notebook. One charcoal gray blanket. One gray blanket. One white and purple flat sheet. One mattress protector. One white and brown blanket. One pink dinosaur blanket. One purple comforter, one gray shirt from hamper, one flat cat sheet, blue underwear, phone tripod. Oh gosh, a tripod. Fitted white purple sheet, one comforter from bedroom number 3, HP desktop tower. So they definitely took a computer for sure. And this is a report from CSI. Let me check with you guys in chat. Yes, remember though, everyone had a Snuggie like a couple years ago when they first came out. We actually had one for a dog. It was blue. I think it is a cat sheet from her bedding. Yeah. Tripod, I know. Yeah, and a partridge in a pear tree. Right. This is a very disturbing case. I know, Paul. That's why, I haven't even gone live on this. This is 11 days after our last, 10 or 11 days after our last discussion on it. It's not something I can do like weekly or even, 2 live streams in a row. It's kind of one of those cases where it's so heavy that I kind of have to put it down and decompress from, and then we pick it back up because it really is disturbing. It's creepy. She absolutely knew what was going on. I know, it is so bad. What a monster, this guy. I know, Joey. Thank you for being here, too. It's good to see you. He is a sicko. Honestly, after hearing her mom sent Stearns and Madeline to bed together, that was it from me. She was part of this. I agree. And then as soon as we heard that she sent them to bed together, everything that she kind of said, I had to re-go over and be like, yeah, seems like she's got his back. Like it seems like she's protecting him, which is kind of like how she's rubbing his back in that interview. And we dropped her off at school. And what else did she say? Oh, that she didn't recognize the picture, the stuff in the picture that she was shown, the material in that photo. It's like everything, even in the background, you didn't recognize the sheets, the clothing. Come on. Sick. I don't understand how you can tell your child to go sleep in bed with your boyfriend. Makes me sick. I know. They said Maddie was upset about the birthday party between not many gifts or friends came if they were even invited. Jen never said, oh, I got Maddie this for her birthday. Yeah, one of her girlfriends in these files, pretty much in her police interview, said that Madeline was disappointed, like she didn't get like money and the gifts that she wanted, or as many as she wanted. And I don't blame her for, expressing to her girlfriend that, she wasn't happy. Yeah, she condoned this all, and it's shameful. That's why I'm sorry, but if Florida doesn't do something along the lines of charging Jen Soto with neglect or whatever they can, there's going to be public outrage, I think. At least from me, there will be. I'll go on and get on my soapbox once a week and until she's got, charges, just like I do in the Chris Watts case with other people involved. Just kidding. Thank you so much, Laia. It's good to see you. Appreciate that very much. All right. So, yeah, she sent them upstairs. Only Stearns said she sent them to the same room. I don't know, Jesse, because I swear in her interview in here, it says that they were sleeping together. I'd have to go back and look at it word for word. And if you have a page number too of her interview, like, let me know. All right, let's get back to this little log. Where did we leave off? Got all that. So this is also property form from the house. Search warrant. This is from one black dog seatbelt leash. Front pass. Okay, no, this is not from the house. This is from a car. One purple dog seatbelt leash, rear door seat. Evidence and property report. Hey, Criminality, good to see you. I thought so too, Tony. I think there was something that kind of narrowed it down to more specific than just sent them upstairs. And then she kind of elaborated and said sometimes they all sleep together, etc. Yeah, why does she send them anywhere to sleep? Exactly. It's all bizarre. None of us can wrap our heads around it. So yeah, this is just basically stating the evidence and property report, where they collected things from. So it's got their address. It's got set of swabs from the front driver door compartment, set of swabs from front passenger door compartment, swabs from the rear door compartment, set of swabs rear passenger door compartment, set of swabs from center console, set of swabs from the steering wheel and shifter, trace vacuum filters from the Lincoln were taken. .9mm Luger and P live round from the glove box was taken. Blue latex gloves from the bottom compartment of the center console. Knit gloves from the so this is just a typed out stuff of what everything we just kind of read. The napkins, a pocket knife, more napkins, nail file kit, top compartment of the center console, blue latex gloves. Yes, everything we kind of read through, this is typed out. Towel from rear passenger door floor, rag from front passenger floor. See if there's anything that kind of stands out that we haven't. Tire from the trunk, we knew that. Yeah, so it's just typed out everything that we already read through. Blue puffer jacket from the trunk. latent lift cards. Right. More property forms. So this is the Nissan. So this is Jen's car. Latent lift cards, Nissan Sentra. One trunk mat, pillowcase, hair from under front passenger seat, swabs from stain on, I'm going to say that means internal front door. I don't know. 2 swabs from rear passenger armrest, 2 swabs from front passenger armrest, 2 swabs from front door armrest, 2 swabs from rear door armrest, 2 swabs from steering wheel and shifter, 1 trace filter from front door seat and floor, 1 trace filter from rear door seat and floor, 1 trace filter from rear mat, seat, and floor. So this is just more stuff that they're gathering from the car. Redacted, 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 redacted all the way. 229 is still redacted, 230, 231. All this has very, very sensitive information. That's why it's all hidden. So everything we've seen looks very thorough. So this is all about the search warrants. We kind of went through some of stuff like this before. This gives like the ramifications of what they're allowed to kind of go through. Okay. See something about a stepfather. Let's read this for a second. Your affiant, Detective Matthew Chiang, is and has been since February 2021 a duly sworn deputy sheriff for the Sheriff of Orange County. Detective Chiang is a deputy sheriff with the Orange County Sheriff's Office Sex Crimes Unit. Detective Chiang is a law enforcement officer of the state of Florida, in that Detective Chiang is empowered by law to conduct investigations of and to make arrests for offenses enumerated within means of Florida state statutes. Detective Chiang has been employed by the Orange County Sheriff's Office since February 2021. He has received training pertaining to investigating drug and narcotics investigations, aggravated persons crimes, murder, attempted murder, home invasions, robbery, battery, etc., in addition to the nexus between the before mentioned crimes and the money laundering, as well as additional related offenses. Hold on, give me 1 second. It's getting a little noisy out there. All right. All righty. Where did I leave off? Blah, blah, blah. Training experience. We get it. As a result of your affiant's training and experience, your affiant has probable cause to believe the following. On February 26, 2024, at approximately 2,000 hours, the 13-year-old victim, madelinesoto, was reported missing by her mother, jennifersoto. Jennifer advised Madeline's stepfather, Stephansterns, picked her up from home. And see, this is the thing that keeps getting kind of stated too over and over in these documents, that Stephan wasn't at the house overnight, that he came and picked her up to bring her to school, which in other interviews in these documents, and obviously on body cam, you know, we hear that he was there after the birthday party and stayed the night. So just interesting how there's multiple stories about Stephan and his whereabouts that morning. Some of them have them as He stayed over. Some of them have them as he came to pick her up. Then went to pick up Madeline from school at dismissal and learned Madeline never showed to school. An interview conducted with Madeline's stepfather, Stephan Stearns, who advised he had picked her up and dropped her off, blah, blah, blah. We already know all this. But interesting that this detective is typing out the narrative that Stephan arrived to the house to pick her up to bring her to school. And we know that that's not true. This is just more sworn statements about the search warrants and stuff. All right, let's switch it up. So we read through a lot. We got what was taken, what from the cars and all that. There's a lot of redacted information at this point. So what I want to do is kind of play a recent, hey Roxanne, good to see you, a recent Court TV segment on this case, because Vinnie Politan has been following this as closely as we have and doing an excellent job. This episode, I think, was 4 days ago. So in chat, who has seen this? Just let me know. Press 1 if you have seen this. It's called Madelinesoto Murder, Examining the Evidence, Florida versus Stephan Stearns. If you have not seen this, press 2. I've only seen the first 5 minutes of this, so it's going to be kind of me watching it live with you guys. So, okay, so Mellie's seen it. Being Bio Girl has not seen it. Okay, so we got some ones. Of course. And that's expected, Mellie. You're a good supporter of Vinny, of me. You're moderating now for our friend Duty Ron. It's awesome. It's good to have you around. Okay. Joey Brooklyn has not seen it. Excellent. Johnny, have you seen this? So Joey and Johnny, both my moderators, they have their own channels. If you guys want to step away from true crime sometimes and just kind of decompress, I recommend both those guys' channels for sure. All right, let's just get into it because it seems a little bit evenly split.
So we're returning to the scene. I want you to walk us around there so we really understand it in light of all the new information that we've received.
Of course, Vinny, let me give you a little lay of the land here. As you can see, in either direction on this road, it's pretty rural, it's pretty flat, and as you can see, there's not too many cars coming, so obviously not too busy. Lots of woods, there's even some cows back here behind me.
I'm just going to put it on regular speed because they do talk fast. Every road in Florida is this flat. That I know because I've driven from New York all the way down to Miami, and it's literally this flat, the whole state.
Over there. But what's important about where we're standing right now, you mentioned that eyewitness seeing Stephan Stearns carrying that tire iron. He was actually right here in this area, changing the tire on that silver Lincoln MKZ. Now, how do we know that that eyewitness was correct about seeing Stephan Stearns? Well, according to those court documents that we now have, he was caught on camera back at the dumpster at Venetian Bay, conveniently throwing away a spare tire in that dumpster. So we're going to walk across this road to show you a little bit more, but we're going to look both ways to stay safe. Coming across over here, and this is actually the remainder or the continuation of a memorial for Maddie. As you can see, they've left some lockets here. When we were here just a few months ago, back in March, when the story was still very fresh, there was a little more luster to it, but obviously this community still cares. And actually, as I'm reading the sign right here, it says the memorial display is being relocated, new location to be announced. So obviously,
the static is coming from his mic. Hopefully it doesn't continue. Hope it's not too distracting.
Members of this community still care about this story, but what's most important and also probably the most sad part about this is that off here to my left, in that bamboo thicket among those trees, is actually where her body was eventually found by police. So as you can see, it's very rural, very very wide open out here, easily accessible by anyone.
Now, Cody, another important part of this was how he got there, right? Is that barbed wire fence that is right behind you now?
It actually is barbed wire fence. And when I was here back in March, there were some ladies out here that were really tapped into the story. And they told me that this is all private property, all private farmland owned by another resident out here. And there's a gate right over here that we can see. And when I was out here last time as well, a few months ago, that gate is actually open. And what those ladies told me back then was that that resident that owns this farmland actually has, really big regrets. He feels very sorry that those gates were open that day. Obviously, they're closed now, but that could have been how he got access to get behind this fence back there in that bamboo thicket where her body was found.
So he's on the other side of the street changing a tire. We believe at that time that Madeline is in the trunk of the car. To me, this is a moment where there's a lot of potential vulnerability for Stephan Sterns if what investigators are telling us is true, that he's on the side of the road, he's got a dead child in his trunk, and he's got a flat tire. When you look at this area, I mean, the place where she is put.
Yeah, we could take another look right here down. Look at how wide open it is. You can see anything. I mean, here's some cars coming right now. They can see us standing right here. There's nothing hiding, and it's not too far from the road either, just a few feet, maybe a couple yards. So very wide open, especially in the afternoon where there's plenty of sunshine, obviously not too many trees around.
So I think this kind of goes back to, I think it was a comment that Tony made, that the flat tire kind of interrupted maybe like a different plan that he had where he was going to take her. And I feel like we've seen multiple cars already drive by. So this was during the day that she got dumped there. I think that the flat tire definitely was something not predicted. They never really are. But he was like in a desperate situation. And then also something that we kind of found out through our reading of these files in other parts is when she was placed there and when they discovered her, the hoodie that she was wearing, they had put Stephan had put the hood up on her. So when she's described in the front passenger seat as slumped over to the left, there was no mention of she had her hood up. And then once her body is found, they describe, her position, etc. We've gone through it in other streams. The hood was placed up on her head. And she was obviously covered with hay and stuff.
Around here, any cars coming by could have seen him doing what he was doing with Madeline's body that day.
So I guess the question is, which comes first, the disposal of the body or the flat tire? And I don't know if we know the answer to that, but if that gate was open, he would have been able to pull his car a little bit closer so he doesn't have to literally carry a body across the street.
What do you guys think came first? Him dumping her body? Like he was like, okay, this is the spot. And then he's like, oh crap, I have a flat tire. Or was it, oh crap, I got a flat tire. Now I got to dump this body. You guys let me know your thoughts in chat, and those on replay, share your thoughts. I think that the flat tire came first.
That is true. But again, like you said, we don't really have the answer right now. He could have done that because as you see right now, there's no cars coming in either direction. So if there was a big window, maybe he could have picked her up really quick. Maybe he could have came up, if that gate was open, walked through this fence, tossed her and ran right back and started changing that tire, realized he had the flat tire. And that's when that eyewitness came by and saw him.
Cody, right now I'm just having a little difficulty hearing you. But I'm going to ask you another question because I think you can hear me. I just can't hear you. So if it repeats what you said, my apologies. So the car is on this side, the gate there. As you look at where the question is, does it have to be buried or could a body just be driving back and forth?
Behind me, some of this brush is a little more thick than it was a few months ago when I was here. But say the farmer that own this land be seen from the road, if maybe you might not recognize that it's a body, but you'd recognize it's something out of place. But what we're seeing right now, it could definitely be hidden behind any of this. So to answer the question, does it have to be buried to be in view?
Once again, Cody, I'll do one more follow-up here in what I'm asking you. So in the time that you've been there, and I'm trying to ascertain how busy this place actually is, are there cars going back and forth? How far are you from closest home?
Well, Vinny, I do hope you can hear me right now. Hold the microphone just a little bit closer. There's one car coming right now. As we've been standing here for this period of time, there's maybe only been 8 to 10 cars that have come by. Not a very busy road of nowhere. No strip malls. This span of road is probably 6 miles long. We're probably 4 miles down the road right now. No strip malls, no security cameras, no lights even. So when it was dark, or when it gets dark, it'll be pretty much pitch black out here. But not much of anything happening going up and down this road.
And I think the biggest question that may never be answered is, why that spot? Was there any connection, or was it just happenstance that you get a flat tire? Oh, I look over here, here's this body. Because where you are is miles from where they were living.
That's exactly right. About 20 miles, maybe 40 minutes, definitely out of the way from those Venetian Bay Village complexes. And again, like you said, this is steps for anybody to come by, such as that eyewitness that saw him changing that tire.
It's really interesting to see. Cody, I know you're going to stay with us the whole hour. Cody Thomas live down in Central Florida. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the place where Stearns allegedly removed Madeline's body from the car and placed it in the trunk. Plus, coming up next hour.
The Black Swan murder trial begins next week, and tonight we take a closer look at the tumultuous relationship.
Her body in the early morning hours on that day. At 8:19, we have evidence that shows Stephan Stearns returning to the complex.
Johnny says, I think he got a flat and moved the body from the car just in case someone pulled up to help or police pulled up. And we actually find out through this like tip lines and stuff when we were reading through this stuff, I mean, so many episodes ago, that somebody did assist him with the flat. And they called in and they're like, yeah, I think I saw this guy. Perhaps he changed the flat, left the area with body, then couldn't find where to leave her, so he ended up going back. What if that's when he went back at 3 a.m. and then placed her body there, got the flat tire, panicked, and was like, I can't do this right now, right here. I don't know. Because then why would he go back to the same spot if he could have dumped her somewhere else? I don't know.
And Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time.
This is a big part of the case, is trying to track Stephan Stearns and figure out when Madeline actually died and what he was doing with her. This is how prosecutors are going to build this case. It's really a timeline. A key moment, though, that we've just learned about recently is at 9:40 a.m., while in the parking garage of the Holiday Inn Vacations building, a male wearing a dark hat, red shirt, and tan pants exited the vehicle and opened the trunk. The male then walked to the front passenger side of the vehicle, opened the door, and proceeded to carry what appeared to be a limp body to the trunk of the vehicle. So this is the moment when Madeline goes from being in the front seat and visible to now in the trunk. Let's go back out to Court TV producer Cody Thomas, still with us. And Cody, you took a trip today to that Holiday Inn Vacations parking garage. What did you find out?
Well, Vinny, interestingly enough, as we pulled up, it was very populated. There was a lot of people that worked there. There was nothing private or hidden about it at all. And there was actually a security guard surveying the parking lot and that parking deck. Take a look. So this is that Holiday Inn Vacation Club's headquarters, where police say Stephan Stearns went the morning that Madeline Soto was found missing. Now, court documents say he pulled into this parking lot and went inside this parking garage right here. We see the parking garage. It's only about 2 levels high. They say he went to the very top, so let's see what that would have looked like for him that morning. Turning into the parking garage right now, obviously plenty of cars here. A lot of people work here, not very discreet at all. So this is what the top of this park.
So I know how in the thumbnail I have, you know, the word scumbag written across his forehead. But this whole thing about the case makes me think like this guy is such an idiot. Like maybe I should have, instead of put scumbag, put idiot, because him being seen on camera in this parking garage, like how did he not know that there would be cameras and that they would see him take her out of the passenger seat and put her in the trunk? I'm just like, I know criminals aren't the smartest, but I am like, did he really think that this was a good idea?
Parking deck would have looked like. And as I'm coming up here, one of the first things I noticed right here, security cameras. One on one side of the pole, on the other side as well. As I'm looking around, I don't see any more. Oh, I see one over there in that corner too, far left corner. And police say in those court documents that at least one of these cameras caught a man looking similar to Stephan Sterns that morning, parking his car, that silver Lincoln MKZ that we've heard about in this case, getting out, opening the trunk, going to the passenger side seat door, opening that door and carrying what they worded as a limp body to the trunk of that car around 9:42 a.m. and then leaving just a few minutes after. And Vinny, just to note, that parking garage is only about 10 miles or a 15-minute drive from the Venetian Bay villages where Sterns and Madeline Soto and her mother lived. So not too far away at all.
Couple things strike me, right? So it's Florida, it's hot. You're going to park downstairs, so the upstairs could be relatively empty. But you've got the cameras. I also saw the windows to the offices. If this is 9:40 in the morning, people were at work. I mean, people could have been looking through the window. Again, very risky type of conduct here, allegedly by Stephan Sterns. So he's at that parking garage, 9:42, makes the transfer from the front seat into the trunk. Where does he go next?
So this is where it gets kind of tricky because there becomes a time gap between then and when his car is caught on camera. Again, he says around 11 a.m. that he went to a vape shop. We don't know if that's true or not, but we do know that somewhere around 12:50 that he was caught on the cameras at the back gate at Venetian Bay Villages. And we went back to that gate today to remind you of what that would have looked like. Take a look. So police know Stephan Sterns left the parking garage of that Holiday Inn Vacation Club's headquarters around 9:42 a.m. Then there's a gap where they don't know where he went in that silver Lincoln MKZ. But according to court documents, they do know somewhere around 12:49, 12:50 p.m., he was caught on camera at the back gate of the Venetian Bay Villages where he lived with Madeline Soto and her mother. He was caught on camera leaving this back gate, eventually heading on that route, going to Hickory Tree Road, where he eventually dumped Madeline Soto's body. And again, Vinny, you know, that's where police say he ended up, after that, took that route out here, drove that extra 35, 40 minutes to end up right here where we're standing and right here behind me where he tossed her body in that bamboo thicket.
And that timing seems to work when you start putting it together to leave from the subdivision, from the complex, back out to St. Cloud where you are. So how long do we think Madeline was in that trunk?
So, Vinny, this is where it gets even more complicated. So, of course, we know that police say he placed Madeline's body in the passenger seat around 7:35 a.m. And we also know, according to those documents, that he brought that limp body from the passenger seat at the top of that parking garage to the trunk around 9:40. Now, when the next intersection camera picks him up turning on this road, on Hickory Tree Road, that is around 1:20. And Vinny, I'm not the best at math, but from 9:40 to 1:20, that's almost 4 hours. So she was in there for a very, very long time.
Once again, in the Florida heat, It gets warm down there. I live down there. It gets very warm. I know you live in Florida as well. All right, Cody's going to stay with us. We have more to ask, but let's bring in our think tank right now. Joining us tonight, criminal defense attorney Eklund Mercy. Also joining us, criminal defense attorney and the attorney who represented out in Arizona, Kirk Nurmi is with us, and El Presidente of the West Coast Trial Lawyers, former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani. Great to see everyone tonight. This case, everything is at stake. You've got the sex abuse charges, but then you have the separate charges for the murder. It's a death penalty case. Eklund Mercy, looking at the conduct or alleged conduct of this man, from my perspective, the thing that really strikes me is how risky a lot of this is. You're going on the top of a parking deck right when everyone's getting to work, and you're taking a body out of the car and throwing it in the trunk. You are pulling off to the side of the road, got a flat tire, you're popping the trunk, and then you're taking a body to the other side of the road and dumping it in the bushes. What are your thoughts?
Well, under my mentor, Suellen Fleming, she always says that child molestation cases were worse than murder cases. And here we have both.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. Anything regarding SA on a child does seem more horrific than us just studying some, normal murder case. I know that sounds strange, but there is like a layer of just nightmarish thoughts that are kind of surrounding this case.
The issue is, I've never seen them together. So especially you have somebody who's made a habit of it, and suddenly we have a death. So it's a surprising event, and his actions seem erratic. So the problem is the cases like these, because they're kind of morally repugnant, it's really hard to really investigate, because it's hard to find people who will either want to investigate it.
That's interesting you say that, Neil, because in one of the interviews, media, I cannot remember which one, you guys might know, but remember she says, yes, everything was fine. She told us all about all the presents she got. Like, she was saying that they had this conversation about, her being all happy about the presents that she had received. So maybe it is the opposite of that. Neil said if Maddie was telling friends she was disappointed with her birthday presents, maybe she said the same thing to Jen, and an argument or fight followed. I think it's possible.
Prosecuted or even defended, because there's so much footage. And the problem is the footage, unfortunately, although repugnant, holds keys to what actually happened to Ms. Soto. And it sucks, because you need somebody to look at every single video to make sure she wasn't so, that other players weren't a part of it, because the actions were so erratic.
Let me ask you, Kirk, what are your thoughts about that spot where Madeline's body was left? Do you think it's a flat tire? It's just oh my goodness, I have a flat tire, and it's just okay, looks across the street and sees a place to do it? Or do you think the body is left there and something else happened for some reason this tire ends up flat?
Vinny, I do. And sadly, I think this is a situation where he probably did get the flat, went to the trunk to gut it, and realized he needed to dispose of the body, and felt like this was as good a place as any to dispose the body. So, I don't think any of Mr. Stearns' behavior is anything other than risky. I mean, he recorded some of this vile behavior. He did some of his acts on the tape, as you said, on video, and this is just consistent with that. I think it's just happenstance. He's going to cast himself as a victim throughout this trial, and so I think this is all just consistent with his morbid mentality.
Nima, that parking garage, there's cameras everywhere capturing a lot of what he's doing. Does that strike you as someone who has planned this, or someone who is in a panic and is just reacting to whatever happened here? I mean, I'm trying to understand it, because there are literally like cameras at the dumpster when he's throwing away the backpack. There's cameras when he's carrying the body. There's cameras at the entrance and exit of the complex, and it seems like he's propping her up in the front seat and she's either dead or passed out.
Vinny, this isn't the smartest criminal defendant we've covered on court TV, and someone who sexually abuses a young girl either with the help of her mother or at a minimum in the presence of her mother, is not someone that really cares about getting caught, in my opinion. I mean, you have all this video evidence. Obviously, we've talked about the cell phone evidence in Stearns' phone, and whether it's license plate readers, whether it's cameras. I mean, we have now eyewitness testimony. There's going to be a lot of evidence in this case, and this is someone that, frankly, was not careful, was risky, probably thought he would never get caught, and you could.
Yeah, I agree with everything this guy's saying. They've got a lot of evidence, and also, which makes the statements in his emails to his parents even more astounding, because he's saying that he believes there's still hope and a slim chance that he'll be able to walk from all this. It's like, no, buddy, there's not even a slim chance. There's zero chance. I mean, unless there was some procedural mishap or something like that.
Tell from those brazen lies to law enforcement when they originally reported for madelinesoto missing.
Eklund, the allegations are he's doing this for, I think, at least 5 years. This abuse that they found recorded. Like, I'm sure there is potentially abuse that's not recorded, but this is what's like documented and they were able to retrieve. But the murder happens right after her birthday party, 13 years old. She's now officially a teenager. I don't think that's a coincidence. Do you?
I don't know. The thing is, why now? So unless he's going away for a long time for sexual battery, it's no doubt about it. But the problem is we have a report. We have is he on the dark web? Did he? Is her birthday significant for something else? There's so much, because the evidence is so outweighed. Like, it's 1,500 pictures. For who? For what? For why? And then suddenly, so he likes pictures, and then suddenly you're just going to stop it with something happened that, and in order to get that body on him, we need to know what happened, right?
I don't know if her turning 13 had anything to do with why this happened. Like, this lady said she's unsure as well. She's thinking that something happened. This whole crime just seems very like not planned and rushed and just one mistake after another. I just am not. I know a lot of people have said, like, well, once they hit that pubescent stage, sometimes these essayers don't want any part of them. But she and her girlfriend, we know this from her girlfriend's interview, they had their periods already, so she was already at that stage where she was like not like a kid body anymore, like she was developing. So I just don't think, I know a lot of people have said like her turning 13 he was done with her. Like, I don't think so. I think that she was like a prize to him and something else happened. We also heard through rumors that in the past, when he was in his early 20s, he was dating a 14-year-old. So to me, I just don't think like the lower teen age was anything that he was like turned off by. That's just my opinion. We might find out that I'm wrong, you know what I mean? And that he was done with her because she was 13. I don't know. I'm sure some of these sickos are like, oh, you're 13, you're a teenager now, I don't want you. But I just don't get that vibe here. I think it was something else that took place that this kind of led to that. Criminale said, I think she decided to fight back because she was 13. Yeah. She said she was going to live in the woods when she was 13. He's cheap. I think Maddie told him that and stood up for herself, saying that she isn't cheap. Pointer Lover says, I don't think her turning 13 has anything to do with it. I think she threatened to tell what was happening. It caused an argument that escalated. I could see that too. I could see an argument kind of escalating, whether it was about her birthday, whether it was about the essay or whatever. I think that that's more probable where this kind of spiraled out of control. I even think that maybe she was like drugged and given too much. Like they were giving her drugs during the essays and accidentally gave her too much. And then they panicked and were like, oh my gosh. But I just don't think that has anything to do with her turning 13. Because I just think that he's a sicko. He liked young teens anyways, from the rumors that we've heard. If they're true, again, we don't have 100% like proof, but it's from what I heard that female actually spoke out somewhere and said like, yeah, she was only 14 and Stephan was in his 20s. So I don't know. I just think her kind of fighting back about something is more probable, and her maybe being overdosed is more probable than him deciding I'm going to kill her because she's 13 now. Just my opinion. So I just don't think Stephan had many options anyways. Like it wasn't like he was going to move on to some other little girl, I don't think. Like Madeline to him was like everything, I think. But time will tell.
At least the prosecutor needs to have a story for that. Because to be so consistent, unfortunately, he was so consistent with his with the other crimes, like consistent with the other crimes. And then suddenly, just out of the blue, we have this. Although it's her birthday, but even then, why not the 12th, the 11th? So the prosecution has to make sure that they answer that. You don't want to just fumble it because we have all of that other evidence. We want to make sure that, it's cinched up tight.
Absolutely. All right. Think Tank staying with us. Cody Thomas still with us. Strange fact that has just been revealed. That night, after she's reported missing, another one of the vehicles from that house returns to the scene where Cody is tonight. More details when we come back.
Yeah.
So the map.
I could see that, Tiffany, being more probable than like her age being the issue. Tiffany said maybe she said no and he got mad. Mm-hmm.
You're looking at here is from law enforcement. And if you start on the left side, you end up on the right. That is the purported route that Stephansterns, they believe, took from the home complex to the resting place where Madelinesoto's body was discarded there in St. Cloud. So it's Kissimmee, Florida to St. Cloud, Florida. Now, there's a bit of a timeline here, and the big news is that there is a second car from the home, not the Lincoln, but a second car that takes the same route. Let me show you. February 26th at 10:04, Stearns is seen on body cam showing police where he says he dropped Madeline off. But then you go later that night into the early morning hours, 3:16, Jen Soto's white Nissan is pinged on a license plate reader. The report stated it took the same path as Stearns the previous day. 3:35, the vehicle enters the dump site where Madeline's body was found. 4:09, the license plate is pinged on the way back home.
So for you guys in chat who, I don't know, might know more about law and stuff, him taking her car at 3 a.m. to return to the scene, I mean, could that be used against Jen as like, see, you're an accomplice to this. You let him take your car. Like, say they start charging Jen with things, like, could that be used against her? And then obviously her lawyers would have to say like, no, my client had no idea that he took her car. I don't know. I just think that that's very damning towards Jen, that her car is being taken to go back to the scene. And we're all just supposed to believe she had no idea. Tony said maybe she was going to leave and live in the woods, like she said, and she wanted to do. And he got angry. Yeah, Jen Soto harmed Maddie, and she made Stephansterns clean up and dispose of Maddie, per the story Jen Soto concocted. I think Jen Soto is in total control and domineering over codependent Stephansterns. Interesting. Yeah, Pink Diamond, it was her car. And the news, when they reported that a car, a Nissan, returned, they were saying, we don't know whose car it was. Well, we knew here because we've been reading page by page of this stuff. And they impounded both their cars, and it had her name listed and stuff for this Nissan. Lisa says, obviously you can loan your car and not know anything. Right. That's true. That's true. And that's something that her lawyer could argue and say she had no idea that he was going there. I don't know. I just think it's like, okay, so you loaned someone your car at 3 a.m.? Just kind of strange. Thank you, Millie. Yes, take a minute and give a like. Johnny says it's possible. Loan your car in the middle of the night and not ask why? Right. Stephan Stearns took Jen Soto's car because he already took his to the scene and he was afraid of another tire popping. Yeah, probably that donut, because you're not supposed to drive that very far. I know. How oblivious can a grown woman be? Right. That is a bit odd to me to loan your car at that time. I don't think so. They might use it to try and get something out of her. We will charge you with this unless you tell us this. Interesting. I could see that too as sort of like a tactic. Cindy says he probably took it and didn't ask her. He would be like, I can't sleep. I'm going to look for her, take her car because his has a donut. Yeah. And then she's just oblivious, like, oh, okay. Right. Because she's, that's the thing, is she's not really playing with a full deck of cards. So could she be believed as being oblivious to it all? Yeah. But at the same time, I just have questions. Where are you going at 3 a.m.? Right. He can take her keys while she's sleeping. True. He could say it's his that his lights are working right, so he doesn't want to drive after dark. Yeah. I mean, there's so many excuses that he could say. He could say he doesn't have gas. I mean, the donut on his car is a perfect excuse. You're not supposed to drive that like 30 miles. Tony says, I don't think she cared.
And then at 4:30, the white Nissan, again, that is registered to Jennifer Soto, arrives back at the complex. Let's go back out to Cody Thomas, our reporter. It's getting dark there, which is appropriate right now because we're talking about not just one trip, but two trips, and the second one is in the dark.
Yeah, you see, the sun is definitely going down here, Vinny, and we actually recreated some of that drive today. One of the main roads mentioned in those documents is this 13th Street. It's this big freeway down here that a lot of the side roads crossed over and intersected, and it's also where a lot of those intersection cameras caught those two cars coming out here that night on Hickory Tree Road. Take a look at this drive. We are here in St. Cloud, Florida right now, about 30 to 35 minutes away from those Venetian Bay villages where Stephan Stearns, Madeline Soto, and her mother lived. This is 13th Street. This is actually one of the roads mentioned in those court documents, going through a bunch of intersections with cameras, which is how police say they tracked his silver Lincoln MKZ out to this area. 13th Street, we've crossed over Old Canoe Creek Road, Neptune Road, Budinger Road. Lots of these intersections, as you look at them as we go under one, we're about to go under one right now, there's cameras at all four sides. So it wasn't a hard lift for police to track him out to this area, again, 30, 35 minutes away. But the key here is, of course, they tracked that silver Lincoln MKZ out here using these intersections. There's another car, a small Toyota registered to Jen Soto, Madeline Soto.
Not a Toyota, another Japanese car, Nissan. So he got that wrong a little bit there. But just thinking about this drive and how many cameras are seen, there must, like, I think Criminality said earlier, he went back to cover her up more. There must have been some reason that he had to make this drive, knowing that there's cameras, to get back to where he had dumped her. Paranoia, maybe he's on his medication and getting even more paranoid. There was a desperate need to get back there at 3 a.m. for him to go through all these cameras, and it's just more risky behavior.
Soto's mother that came back out here around 3:30 a.m. We don't know who was driving. We don't know if Stephan was behind the wheel. We don't know if Jen Soto was behind the wheel, or both. But it was out here going the same exact route. The only difference is Stearns' car left from the back gate of Venetian Bay. The Toyota left from the front gate. So the first few streets that the cars are tracked on were a bit different. But as you look at those court documents, once they get out here at the intersection of Old Canoe Creek Road and 13th Street, everything lines up the same. Stearns was out here around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1:08, 1:15-ish, before getting to Hickory Tree Road, where Madeline Soto's body was eventually found. But that small Toyota was out here around 3:30 in the morning and didn't return back to Venetian Bay or in that area until after 4 a.m. So, we don't know who's behind the wheel, but up for speculation once that trial begins. And Vinny, I think I did misspeak in that it was actually a Nissan, not a Toyota. But just to remind you that we are out here at this location about 40 minutes away from where they live in Venetian Bay, which definitely is out of the way, especially after 3 a.m.
Now, another part of Stephan Stern's story, getting to that, they asked him if he went anywhere that night, right? Like the night of the drive that the Nissan's taken.
Well, Vinny, you're absolutely right. But Stearns claims that he never left the house that night. Take a listen to this.
We will listen to that, but also I'm just remembering, not only do they ask him if he left anywhere, but they also ask Jen and Stephan, like, where they have searched. Have you done any searching? And they pretty much said, like, just from the school to my mother's office, blah, blah, blah. That was the opportunity that maybe Stephan could have said, like, well, I couldn't sleep. Like, I drove around actually at night, but that didn't happen.
Did you and your wife, when you guys were looking for, where did you guys look?
Me and her stayed local. It was all the rest of the family that mobilized and was beating the bushes. And
did you guys drive together or separate?
I don't think we drove anywhere when we were looking.
You didn't drive anywhere?
Not that I recall.
Did you guys go anywhere last night? Was that media?
Maybe. I think Fox 35 or something was coming.
Let me tell him to use the paper.
Okay.
I don't recall. You have to ask her if we went anywhere. I don't recall. I was so zonked out on Ativan at that point.
Okay.
It was a wreck.
And of course, Vinny, knowing what we know now, we know that absolutely was not the truth.
Right. Someone from that house is in that Nissan. It's either him or her or both. Another part of his story, getting to his story, and he mentioned this a lot when he says he was driving Madeline to school, that they were going to go to McDonald's, that they were going to stop at this McDonald's. And he keeps harping on it, the McDonald's, that's why we're leaving early. Did you come across that McDonald's?
Well, yeah, I did. I found that McDonald's today, Vinny. Of course, at that given moment in time, before knowing what we know now, it became a battle of his story versus the police's story. But I did find that McDonald's, and it actually wasn't too far away from Hunters Creek Middle School, where she was supposed to be that morning. So Stern's story to police was that morning that madelinesoto went missing. He says they got up early to go to McDonald's. They left. Madeline had already eaten a bagel or a biscuit or something of the sort. She wasn't hungry. She didn't want McDonald's. Ended up going back to the house early before he says he eventually took her to school. Now, we now know that's not true. And this McDonald's is on Town Loop Road. It's only about 10 to 12 minutes from Venetian Bay where they lived. And actually on the drive over here, we passed Hunters Creek Middle School where madelinesoto was supposed to be that day. And we also passed Peace United Methodist Church where Stern says he dropped her off in order to walk to school that morning. Again, we now know that's not true. We now know that Stearns was actually on a different route, headed out to Hickory Tree Road in St. Cloud, where madelinesoto's body was eventually found. And again, Vinny, that was yet another untruthful story told by Stephan Stearns, and there could be many more to come as this case continues to develop.
All right, so just a real quick question. It's really dark behind you right now. They were there, and it's just past sunset. They were there at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's no street lights or anything, right? It's just complete darkness?
Absolutely no street lights. In fact, if we turn this light off in front of me, you wouldn't be able to see a thing out here on this road.
All right, can you turn it off? Turn it off for a second, just so we can see how dark it really is. Cut the light.
1 second.
Yep, yeah, okay, that tells the story.
Where'd I go?
You're gone. Cody Thomas in St. Cloud for us tonight. Thanks so much, Cody. Great reporting, as always. Let's bring back in our think tank, Eklund Mercy, Kirk Nurmi, Nima Romani. All right, Kirk, what's going on here? What are the questions you have about this second trip by a second vehicle from that household? It's Jen's car. Stephan obviously could have access to it. What are the questions you have? How significant? What is the importance of this return trip that night after they've told police that there's a child missing?
My guess is it kind of supports the theory, the idea that the placement of the body wasn't what he chose, but a matter of necessity based on the flat tire. My guess is this is supportive of the story that he went back. He started getting nervous. How easy was the body going to be able to be seen? So he drove back out there, took Jen's car so it wouldn't, correlate back to him, that maybe it looked like it was her. But the only real question then that this gives rise to, if the cameras could pick it up or not, was there one or were there two people in the car? And that would possibly be Jen Soto, right? But other than that, there's no real questions here because I think it's really consistent, even wraps it up tighter for the prosecutors because they say he had to dump this body out of necessity, and he went back to make sure that it wasn't going to be discovered because he knew the police were looking. He knew.
Yeah, this is almost making me think more and more that the flat tire came first before the disposal, because his desperate need to get back there, he didn't get to cover her up or put her where he wanted to or felt comfortable with. So he went back to kind of finish up what he couldn't do during the day at that spot. And wow, 30 months of member criminality. Damn, we've been friends forever, right? And it's been even longer than that because I didn't even start like my channel until after we had already met through the Watts case. So thank you so much for being a member. I appreciate you, and a moderator, and obviously a friend. Thank you so much. And Melanie, 8 months. Thank you. Appreciate you guys so much.
That the heat was on. So he wanted to double check himself at 3:30 in the morning.
Nima, I'm thinking about Jen Soto right now. It's her car, but it's her daughter that's missing. They report it. They're, with police that night. Then they come home, and then someone leaves for like an hour. Like, she would have to have some information about this and have some explanation about what's going on here.
Well, Vinny, we're all thinking about Jen Soto and why hasn't she been charged and will she be charged? And, Kirk nailed it. There's no question that it's Stearns going out. Maybe he took Jen's car because his car has a spare tire and he didn't want to drive on a spare or wanted to throw law enforcement off. But he was doing something with that body. Why else would you go to the scene of the crime at 3 or 4 a.m.? But, I agree with you. I got a lot of questions about Jen that I don't have about Stearns. I think Stearns is going to be convicted, probably put to death. But what did she know? What was her role in all this? At minimum, seems like a failure to protect. But we may even have a co-conspirator here. We may have an accessory to murder. So there's a lot of questions I have about Jen. And let's not forget about Stearns' jail emails. He's talking about someone else who was involved in the case. Now, that could be all lies. We know he's a liar, or it could be Jen or someone else entirely.
So, Eklund, we don't know the status of Jen Soto right now. We don't know if she has cooperated and is like on the team of the prosecution and helping them fill in the blanks of things that they may or may not know about what was going on behind closed doors. We don't know if she's still the subject of an investigation. We do know she hasn't been named as a suspect. She hasn't been arrested. She hasn't been charged with anything. But it seems to me she has a lot of information that could complete this story one way or the other. If you're representing her, what do you do?
The issue is that I think she's involved. Okay, because we've seen cases like this in juvenile cases and deprivation cases where they're trying to deprive, parental rights being taken away.
And is like on the team of the prosecution and helping them fill in the
deprivation cases where they're trying to deprive, parental rights being taken away. For 5 years, she allowed this to happen or had some sense of it. And I think it wouldn't be out of the ordinary based on what's happening. I think they probably tried to sell her. I think they probably tried to sell Madeline, and something went wrong and they had to come back, because I just see that the actions are just so erratic. And based on all of the evidence, if I was the prosecutor, I would check the financial records prior to the 13th birthday. I would check to see any upticks on, any money or anything like that. I would definitely check Jen Soto's accounts, because it just seems out of the ordinary. Then I would check to see, the rape kit will tell us what's up. We're about to find out a lot during trial, but I would also want to check to see the stomach contents, if it matches with, the bagel that he stated that, they apparently sell at McDonald's now. So there's a lot of things. And I think that this would be my, come to Jesus meeting with Madeline. Like, the only thing that can save you now is the truth. But she hasn't been prosecuted, so it's her.
Hasn't been named as a suspect again. Like, at this point, we know nothing, and she's free, presumed innocent, and not charged, and not named as a suspect. Let me ask you, Kirk. The other part of the story, a lot of people wonder about: is it possible, saving all these images? Is it part of something deeper and darker and connected to others? If, and again, this is a big if Stephan Sterns has information like that, and it connects to some sort of a ring, a child pornography ring or a child abuse ring or something like that, is that a card you think that he could play? Is that something that might interest a prosecutor if it involves more children?
Maybe, but that really depends on if there is a paper trail to support him and or his testimony is needed to do that, right? When we talk about posting these images, were they posted anywhere? Were they shared anywhere? Or did they go on the dark web as Eklund mentioned? So there's all those kind of things. And obviously this man is a notorious liar, so his word alone isn't going to be enough. He's going to have some need to have some substantiation for that. I think one thing that's interesting about the emails that Nima mentioned earlier is that, you know, Mr. Stearns fancies himself as a victim in this case. He's not the only one who should go down or who should bear responsibility. So it does seem, Vinny, if such is the case, if that horrific step of distribution took place, that he might be in a mindset where he wants to distribute because he's a victim, or he wants to get those to whom he distributed to. And so he's going to cast himself as a victim and throw them under the bus as well.
Great job, Eklund Mercy.
All right. Well, that was insightful, in my opinion. We do have more files to go through. Let me just skim a little bit while you guys share your final thoughts in chat. I'm just skimming through the documents while you guys are doing that. Let's see, we left off on page, 257? Okay, yeah, there's just still a lot of redacted black pages all the way past 267. Now we've got one search warrant about his car. Yeah, we'll go through this next time. So we'll pick up on page 268. Next live stream and deep dive into these documents. And yeah, being Bio Girl, did you hear Plunder and the channel The Docket have paid for his prison phone calls? So when those come out, of course, we will listen to them as well. Those channels have paid the public records for them in hopes that they receive them. They're not even sure if and when they will, but it seems like they're going to because it's Florida and they're very open with their records. So we'll see. Okay, Florida, thanks for being here. Thank you to all my moderators. We're pretty much done for the evening. So I appreciate everyone being here. Please hit that like button on your way out. Join me here tomorrow night. I'm not sure what we'll be covering. Might do another Gypsy Rose stream because she did a TikTok live after my live last night. Like I got done with our live that we talked about her TV show. In case you guys missed that, that's on my channel as well. Reviewed her whole reality show. And she was on TikTok saying some interesting stuff too. I took some screen recordings and I've got some clips saved. But maybe we'll do another one on Gypsy. Maybe we'll read another part in the Idaho 4 case. You guys let me know what you want to do. Thursday, we'll do a Watts deep dive and finish up his FBI interview, recap, and then we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll do the Idaho 4 thing on Friday. Either way, join me here tomorrow night around the same time. Thank you to everyone who donated. Thank you to everyone who participated in chat. For those who hit the like button, I appreciate and love you all. Moderators, thanks so much. And yes, I will see you guys tomorrow night. No way would Jen be talking to him. I agree. I definitely think that like she's dumb, but I don't think she's that dumb to kind of be contacting him anymore, but we'll see. And yeah, join me tomorrow night. And thanks again to everyone. And I will see you guys then. So goodbye.